Thank you for joining us in All Things Have Standing. We hope you are enjoying this experience to complement and supplement the audio drama, The Spark Hunter File. In our last group of philosophy gatherings, we got acquainted with Sylvia Benso's The Face of Things, a different side of ethics, where she argues that addressing humankind's most daunting challenges, apocalyptic climate change, and festering ethnic tensions metastasizing into genocidal atrocities, is ultimately an ethical problem. Benso then describes an alternate ethics that is an amalgamation of Emmanuel Levinas's wisdom of love with Martin Heidegger's alterity of things. All things have standing, everything. If all things have moral standing, what does that imply for our human responses to the world? Would this suggest a change in our way of living? An ethics derived from the notion that all things have standing, according to Benso, would result in tenderness as a stance towards life. Tenderness, at its root, entails dealing with while waiting. That is, attending to one's surroundings with patience and humility to act responsibly and respectfully towards the other, be it a person, a plant, or a pebble. Tenderness takes strong and deliberate forms, for instance, in resistance to force or neutralizing evil. Thus, tenderness is not a passive form of yielding. It is intentional, goal-directed, practical, and applied. Additionally, tenderness entails sadness because things, including humans as thinking things, are by their nature ephemeral and perpetually vulnerable to obliteration. Since things' connection to the world is infinite, in these differences, ambiguities, and shadows, we could never experience or know them completely. Thus, things, including humans and even ourselves, by their fundamental structure, give us a sense of loss above and beyond the feelings of awe and wonder at their vastness, beauty, intricacy, or utility. Does this not suggest perhaps an authentic way of living in the world, a way of successfully coexisting with every element of our environment? What would the world be like if humanity practiced a deliberate, practical tenderness and respect for difference? Benso writes, tenderness is the access to the ethical place in which an encounter with things may happen. So tenderness allows us to approach things ethically. Moreover, despite entailing sadness, tenderness buffers the destructive elements of existential anxieties that I described at the end of the psychology portion of our program. Well, how would tenderness manifest itself in our daily lives? Benso argues here that tenderness applied to the practice of life is, in her words, festive and celebratory. And this is based on her understanding of ancient Greek festivals as communal encounters with the fourfold reality, where one can enact an ethical relation with things. Festivals mark a suspension of everydayness. They are kaleidoscopic, multisensory, affective, embodied, interpersonal experiences where our typical sense of space and time is momentarily interrupted and transcended. Festivals celebrate the present moment while simultaneously honoring the past, joyously anticipating the future, and solemnly recognizing the fact that things fall apart. All things, everything. Thus, festivals are not about drinking heavily and orgies. They are rather an expression of our essential humanity in which life and death meet. Everything that we do could be a festival. And for Benso, festivity ultimately becomes, and here again in her own words, a dimension of everyday life. Not to live a life of festivals, but to live the relation with things in tenderness. Wow, these are indeed sophisticated and complex ideas, really heady stuff. But at the outset of our journey, we describe Benso's ethics as practical and actionable. So, now let us consider tenderness in action as it pertains to our relationship with the natural environment. In light of the perilous prospects for the future of humanity, given climate instability wrought in large measure by our death-denying rather than life-affirming stance towards life.